The moment you recognize narcissism. Welcome to today's topic, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Coach Tobias Forst, founder of Achilles Life Coaching, decade-long recipient of narcissistic abuse, and I've saved myself from it. And I will support you on your journey to your personal freedom. So, you find yourself at this very important and almost magical moment when you realize that what you've experienced actually has a name. It's called narcissistic abuse, and you've been surrounded by various narcissistic people throughout the course of your life. Now, how this moment turned out for you, or maybe if this is one of the first videos you're watching on this subject on various channels, welcome, first of all, and this will be the beginning of a new chapter in your life. So for the structure of this video, we will go through the following 5 topics. Number 1, your turning point. Number 2, the stone and the avalanche. Number 3, side effects. Number 4, your enemies, your companions, and the lobster. Number 5, quote, "Why do my eyes hurt?" Unquote. Neo, the Matrix. So let's start with number 1, your turning point. You've absorbed a lot. You've had a lot of different impressions and experiences when it comes to various people in your life that were odd, that left you hurt, that instigated confusion in your mind. Maybe physical symptoms have started to pop up and seem to have come out of nowhere. No real cause of it to be discovered yet. Your mind has chosen to ignore a lot, has chosen to be willfully blind to various things and their effects on you, your emotional and your mental health. But your gut feeling, your intuition, they have kept count of all of it. And today you find yourself in this one situation where it was just the one drop that made the water spill from the bucket. This one aspect that was just enough. This one invalidation that was too much. This one cell phone notification on your partner's cell phone that made you question as to their loyalty and faithfulness. That one lie that you exposed yet again, but he or she tried to deflect and accuse you instead. And you realize at this turning point that they, for some reason you cannot yet pinpoint, they will never change. They will always remain in this static way of behaving and acting out. Number 2, the stone and the avalanche. You're going on a search right now. The first online article you find, the first report in a magazine that you uncover, that very helpful, sort of strange and understanding comment of a close friend of yours, or the first video that you find on platforms like YouTube, Rumble, or Odyssey. And one thing leads to the next. You search, you find, you absorb. You search, you find, and you absorb even more. And you cannot, for some reason, seem to stop. You absorb it all, you learn and continue to learn like a sponge, like the driest sponge there is, absorbing knowledge, acquiring insights. You're almost in some kind of flow state in this process, as if it was almost a manic focus on this singular activity of learning what's really been going on all those years. And this comes with point number 3, side effects. Please note that this is not a step-by-step side effect program that you can expect. I want you to have your personal expectation management when it comes to various kinds of feelings that you will, in some way, shape or form, experience whenever they pop up. It's more like a game of twist, and whatever area lights up is the one that asks you for your utmost attention, and you press here and deal with this and that emotion and these patterns of thought. So what are those side effects? What are those feelings and situations that you will experience? Euphoria. All the insights that you currently acquire are completely new. All of a sudden, it all makes sense. It has a name, it has a structure to it. You realize the functions and the goals behind it, the motivations of other people when they behaved in a certain way. Questions from your today, from your now, and from your past, all of a sudden receive the answers that you haven't even realized you were looking for. Another feeling that you will experience very likely is shock. Shock for the very same reasons as was the case with euphoria. All your insights are new. All the questions that you refuse to ask yourself now receive answers, whether you like it or not, whether you like them, the answers, or not. It all makes sense when it comes to aspects, behavior, situations that you willingly, willfully, blindly averted your eyes from. What other feeling is there? Mourning and sadness. Mourning and sadness for the life that was mostly a lie. For the potential you lost. For the time you lost. For the road not taken. Had I known this back then in the day, had I not pursued this relationship further, and so on and so forth. And also one of the very prominent lights on this realization twister game, if you may call it that, is rage. Rage, very prevalent within almost all of us when we awaken. Rage about what they forced upon you, the way they treated you. Who's they? The perpetrators. Because narcissistic abuse, finally you have a name for it, narcissistic abuse is psychological violence. And those people who use psychological violence are, by definition, perpetrators. Regardless of the circumstances that we seem to be much more lenient with perpetrators using psychological violence compared to the physical one. Now let me conclude this point number 3, side effects, with a quote by the German musician Herbert Grönemeyer from his song Bleibt alles anders, everything remains different. Dance the dance on thin ice. So what does he mean by that? At least the way I see it. You are rearranging yourself. You are finding yourself in a new chapter of life. You are literally unveiling the truth before your own eyes. And yes, there is no real solid ground beneath your feet yet. No real foundation that you can solidly and stably stand upon. But still, enjoy this process, dance the dance on thin ice, when it comes to discovering more and more of the truth at and after the moment where you finally woke up to said truth. take one transformative step after the other, regardless of how small and minute it might be. Point number 4, your enemies, your companions, and the lobster. You find yourself now in a very fragile state, in a very fragile phase, because your sensory equipment is by no means fully adequately calibrated to the truth that you just discovered. And this is normal, this takes time, this is a process, and it is worth every step of the way. Now at this point in time, you will learn the true core of the people in your social circles, be that friends, family, your partner in your relationship, or colleagues at work. And you find that almost all of the people in this matrix are capable of becoming agents who do not mean well toward you. So I will detail 3 different types of reactions that you will find, that you can expect from other people in your circles when you discuss your moment of waking up to the truth, when you realize and recognize what narcissism actually is, and that narcissism has had such a prevalent role in your life so far. Are you a psychologist right now? These are the words of a narcissist, formulated and spoken in rage, motivated by fear that you will be capable of recognizing them for what they are in the very near future. Next one. Don't you think that you're overreacting a little bit? This is the talk of enablers, flying monkeys, the ones who extend the manipulations of narcissists most of the time without the enablers even knowing that they are doing their work. Most of them are blind, and some of them will remain so until the end. What this might cause in you is confusion. And confusion is one of the last things that you need right at this point when you recognize narcissism for the first time. Last but not least, yeah, I recognize this too. Tell me more. These are the words of an honest and mentally sane and healthy adult who has an interest in helping you exchanging ideas, perceptions about the reality of things when it comes to narcissism. Now, to make this more clear, I've selected a very good quote among the so many amazing quotes from Coach Corey Wayne and his book Quotes, Ruminations and Contemplations, Volume 1. I highly recommend that you listen to both of them, available on audible.com. Quote, "We tend to not like in other people what they are connected to in themselves, that we're disconnected from in ourselves." So going back to the 3 types of reactions I just explained, let's see who's connected to what. The narcissist isn't connected to the truth. The narcissist isn't connected to responsibility, and he isn't connected to change. And you are changing. That's why he verbally attacks you. Are you a psychologist right now? He's disconnected from what you are experiencing right now. Your moment of waking up to the truth. The next one, don't you think you're overreacting a little bit? He's not connected to opening his or her eyes as you are now. So it must be your overreaction. There can't be a different explanation now, can there? And last but not least, yeah, I've recognized this too. Tell me more. This person is very much connected to what you are connected to in yourself. And he or she has absolutely no problem with it, because he or she is exactly connected to the very same thing within themselves. That's why they don't act in an antagonistic way. Now to the lobster. When does a lobster shed its carapace? When the pressure from growing inside it becomes so much that it is unbearable and the carapace doesn't sustain the growth of the organism beneath it. So when a lobster sheds their carapace, they are in a state of vulnerability. They are soft. The new carapace underneath hasn't even begun to harden yet. So what a lobster does is they retreat underneath a rock outcropping and allow the carapace to harden so that they have a defense mechanism when they go out into the world again. And this is the same thing I recommend to you. Be careful who you share your insights with. Take off some time alone. Allow your sensory equipment to recalibrate to the new vision of the world as it really is. And protect yourself until your armor, your carapace, is strong enough for you to face it again with a new pair of eyes. That leads us to the last point. Quote, "Why do my eyes hurt?" Unquote. Neo, the Matrix. And the answer that he gets is from his mentor Morpheus, who answers, "Because you've never used them before." Neo in the Matrix was one of the billions of people whose body was plugged into a sort of a battery, a charge leaching system, while their minds were connected to what is known as the Matrix, a digital program where they would follow through their ordinary lives. Neo gets the choice to become unplugged from this Matrix, and he chose to do so by taking the red pill instead of the blue one and remain a slave in the Matrix. So he woke up, and the first thing that was required of him was the body wasn't really used so far. It was in a tank, and the muscles atrophied, so they had to build his complete muscle structure up to that of a normal, functioning adult human man. And apart from that, he had never used his eyes before. That's why they hurt. And this is the state that you find yourself in. You need to grow your muscles. Your eyes need to adjust to the light of truth, of realization. And this is a process. This will take time. And that moment of you unplugging from this matrix, from this lie, where so many social institutions fail to prepare you for, social institutions that should have the actual job description of preparing you for the world, but they don't. So this is where we come in, where we need to share what we know in order for us to wake each other up. And you've just now realized narcissism about one particular person, and there's a cascade following. Your realization about this guy, that woman, that group, and whoever else. When you discover patterns of behavior that fit narcissism and other toxic personality styles. And you learn a lot about a great many individuals that had various types and strengths of connection to you over the course of your life. And as painful as this waking up will be when your eyes hurt because you've never used them before, it is so very important because you now see the light and you work with the truth and stand in the truth, and that is always preferable to being and staying blind and in the shadows. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, be patient with yourself. No anti-narcissism expert fell down from the skies in a comet or transformed into one overnight. Be patient with yourself. This is a gradual process and it comes with hurt, but it will get better and you will see very clearly, and at some point, really, without pain when it comes to the future. regardless of however long this will take. This is a very individual process. Now, we live in a time where we are constantly being told that we are not supposed to trust our eyes or trust our ears. But, ladies and gentlemen, our senses, they are not optional. They are a gift. And we should use this gift. We are allowed to use this gift. And we must use this gift that is our senses. So be your own hero and be your own heroine. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.